relay a spiritual concept. Everyone knows that the world is in really bad shape right now. That's not news to anyone. And it's also not news that there's a huge war in the Middle East. And on the surface, maybe it seems like a battle for the Strait of Hormuz and for resources. And that's true on one level. But if you go a little deeper than that, it's an ideological battle and a religious battle. The Jews, the Muslims, the Christians have been warring with each other since thousands of years, for generations and generations. But there's also a deeper level than that, and that's the one I would like to share with you today. So I'll try to make it as simple as possible. Here we have the world, pretty simple. And then in the world, we have people. All right? And then we have what quantum physicists would call the field, spiritual people would call maybe the collective consciousness, religious people would call it God. Okay? But whatever you want to call it, I call it the light of the Creator. Whatever you want to call it, it's an energy source. Okay? This is where all of creation is emanating down from. Okay? So this force is constantly giving. And it's coming down to earth, to all of creation, but to us specifically, and we're receiving that energy. This energy is raw, untamed, pure energy. It's formless. Now, when we receive that energy, we take that formless energy, and it's what you call free will. And we start going out and we start building societies, families, countries, systems, structures, everything that we humans do here on Earth. Now, the issue with that is that we are receivers. Okay? Receivers. This is a giver. It's a giving force. That's all it's ever doing is giving. Okay, so we're taking that energy as its receivers. Imagine this is like a satellite up in space, and we're its antennas. So we're receiving this energy, and then we're converting that into actionable energy. All right, so some of the things we're doing with that is we have a desire for power, status, we have a desire for sex, money, we have fears, anxieties, jealousy, all the things we humans do here on Earth. And so these things are a lower nature, a lower ego drive, okay? And the problem is that these two forces, the giving force and us, the receiving force, are two totally opposite things. So that creates an imbalance in the system because this is a whole, complete, holistic system. We're creating an imbalance. So what happens is we, as a collective humanity, are sending this energy back up into the field. And it's almost like a filter that gets dirty. Okay, it's getting dirtier and dirtier as the generations go on. And that energy is coming back to us in a distorted way. All right, so that's causing consequences like war, disease, God forbid, famine, the breakdown of societal structures, breakdown of family, mental illness, all the problems that we see going on Earth today. It's no secret that the world has gone completely insane. Um, so the issue is that we've been going on like this for generations, right? People see time and history as a straight line, but really it's cyclical. It goes in cycles, and all the souls that were ever incarnated keep coming back throughout the generations. And this is a process of refinement until we get to the end of that egoistic drive, which is here. Okay? Now, most ancient literatures and schools of thought call it Armageddon. The yogis call it Kali Yuga. The Muslims are waiting for Muhammad to come back. The Jews see this as the war of Gog and Magog. The Christians, Armageddon, the apocalypse. We've all heard these stories. The Hopis have their own version. Every culture has their own version, but they have that version of a story that one day we'll get there. Well, we're there now. Now, all of these problems over here that arise from this imbalance going back into the collective consciousness and coming down as these consequences are for one purpose. It's to make us go back up, right? Back up into this higher consciousness instead of this lower ego drive. All right, so that's the purpose of all the suffering. Now, what we can do in the meantime is, before we are forced, now we are at this point right now, I think a lot of spiritual leaders, teachers, that kind of thing are saying this, and looking around at the world, it seems pretty obvious to me, pretty self-evident. But we as individuals can start choosing before the suffering forces us to start living in this higher consciousness now, right? To start living in the spiritual realm now by choosing not to chase these things and go after our egoistic natures, but starting to rise back to this level above the physical plane to the spiritual conscious plane. So you can look at this process of history, all the souls being refined through the generations, almost like a birth canal. So the closer you get to the actual birth of something new, a new life, the harder and stronger the contractions get. So the reason that things are so intense right now is because the baby is about to be born and we're about to go up back here. So we can all do our part by starting to choose to go there, and by doing that, we make it easier for all of humanity to go there. So this is not a religious concept. This is more like an evolutional concept than a religious concept. And no matter what we do, this is the process that we're in, and we're destined to go back up. How much suffering we go through really depends on us. And if we start going up, voluntarily instead of being forced by this lower ego drive and all of its consequences to go back up. So I see all the fear on X and all the platforms, and it is scary, I understand, but I had this information and I just wanted to share it with you, and I hope that it helps you some.